Welcome back to another game, and we're playing against d4, c4. Are we going to get Grünfeld with knight c3? Yes, we are. Play d5, and the main line goes takes, takes, pawn up, takes, takes, and then you kind of start off there. White gets a big centre, and it's black's job to try and take that centre apart. Send a little good luck message to each other. Maybe they'll be watching this back on YouTube in a couple of days' time. Probably the weekend this game will come out. Okay. Interesting. So I suppose this is like a bit like a Jabava London, but they've inserted c4. So I don't really want the knight hopping here. Interesting. I probably should know what to play against this, right? Because it makes sense. Because now after takes, takes, push, takes, takes. I want to be playing c5. I also don't want to let the knight get here. If I just play lazy like this, then this. I don't really want to play knight a6. Am I forced to play a6? How can I be stumped? Move 4. Is a6 the move? Takes, takes, push, takes, takes. I'm going for the pretty stupid looking a6 pawn, but it does parry the check. I'm going to play a6. Purely to stop this idea. Again, we'll look afterwards because this should be an idea I know. It shouldn't be that unusual to have bishop f4 on move 4. So we'll get some learnings out of this game. My goal for this game is just to play solidly. Like the last couple of times when I have the black pieces, I get into slightly worse positions and then I kind of throw, okay, a4. To what, play a5 and clamp me? I don't think a4's a move. Doesn't feel quite right for here. So I'm fine just going about my normal business. The kind of question, I'm still waiting to see what's going to happen with this bishop. Like if they're going to go g3 and develop it out this way. What is going on here? Usually that's an indication when the castle long, but surely you're not castling long here. I'm tempted to take. And you push. Let's put this knight out here. Now you're threatening to take and take. Well, are we? Takes, 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 takes. So I can play this. I'm going to take there, and there, and there, and there. Do I have a sensible way of trying to hold on to the pawn? I suppose that's what a4 does, isn't it? It plays against my b5, trying to hold on to the pawn. Here, takes, takes. Knight up. Takes, push. here to try and hang on. Threaten this. Do we just castle? Maybe we just castle for a move. Maybe we play. Maybe we can. There. It's quite a nice square for the knight, but obviously the c4 square is loose. I'm just going to castle. Maybe there was something there. Can I pressurize the queen? Maybe I should have taken the last move then. Any intermediate moves? Don't think so. And this. Still toying if I try and hang on to the pawn for a little bit. Maybe I do. And give away this kind of nice square, but if they go there, then I can get bishop here. Maybe knight here and c5 with my pawn. Don't really know. But yes, trying to play sensible chess. And obviously even if that pawn gets recaptured, we're in a stable position. They've got weaknesses really on the queen side. That b2 pawn and a4 pawn aren't fantastically linked up, and some development issues getting castled. So this feels like a good spot. I'm expecting e3. Maybe they can push for e4. Maybe they can push d5. Yeah, so I'd imagine this is the stock move. I'd say e3. Maybe they're looking at either this, or some kind of combination of both. Maybe our bishop wants to come here. I think on this we can play here, defending the pawn and threatening this b3 square. There is a discovery with their knight, but I'm thinking I can also just lock it in position with b6. Play this and maybe at some point push for b5. Yeah, so I kind of like this setup, right? Knight on a5, b6 pawn locking it in together, and bishop on b7. Staring down there. Interesting. Yeah, stopping me being able to trade off the knight, I presume, is the idea there. So I might continue with this, in my plan anyway. And now I can meet a5 with b5. Get the knight in in there. Still the question of what you're doing with your bishop. I think given that you've now played h3, you're coming out on this diagonal rather than g3, bishop g2. Yeah. And so we've got two of our three moves in. If we get bishop g7 in, that feels nice. Try and get some control over the e4 square. I also don't mind my king so much on g7. It does open up this kind of checking potential, maybe like the h6 square, but we're a little bit off that, and it does allow me to kind of sweep in behind for any advances pushing down the h file, but I don't think they're in a position really to start a kingside attack. So good control over b3, and obviously we're threatening to jump in and fork, but really it's just making it a difficult time if you get in this c4 pawn back. I mean, it's totally doable, right? You can just swivel your queen, swivel your rook over. Maybe, okay. Interesting. If I go here, the squares available are here and here. So if I put a bishop here, I'm then threatening to go here. Queen moves over, then in. Takes, takes, takes. I get a rook for the bishop and the pawn, which is good. If this ever comes, then I win the queen. I'm playing bishop here. Can't push the pawn. Yep, like this. Like the original plan was b7, but like I say, your queen is really short on squares. So this is the move that is threatening. So the thought process is, what happens if I play this move? The queen doesn't have access to these two squares because the knight and the pawn cover them. The queen does have access to these two squares. Now that the bishop's here, this square is removed. So now if I was to play knight b3, the only square they've got available is queen e2. So you can see knight goes to b3, queen's forced over there. I can then follow up with bishop d3. The queen then has no available squares, so the only move is to take, take, take. So we get the rook for the bishop and the pawn. That pawn is the one that we're up, so we'd just be up a clean exchange, which would be ideal. I would have a knight left on b3, which I'd need to bring back, but we'd be in pretty good shape. And it's not easy for them to have a move, even if you see it, right? What are you going to do? Your objectives are to play your bishop here into castle. What other moves do you have? Don't really want to be touching your pawns. This one can't move forward. This moves forward doesn't create you an extra square on d3, so it would move and vacate this square, but after I played knight b3 to attack it, and it also retro covers the d4 square, so that pawn can't move. This pawn can't move, so maybe you're moving your rook back. If it goes there, I'm in. If it goes there, I'm in, and it can't go there, so your rook's stuck. So you're left really with one of your knight moves. Yeah, actually I think, yeah, bishop f, the more I look at it, the more I quite like bishop f5. So yeah, we're now on moving one of your knights. This guy has got, okay, so the only available squares are these ones, which don't look fantastic. And this knight has got this forward potential here. But like I say, on any of these moves, well, actually, with the exception, like this is the only contender. Actually, knight here is the contender because you take with check. So even though I would threaten your queen, that does not. Okay, but it does cover this square and attacks the pawn. I missed that. I thought I was crashing here. That's annoying. Okay, so what do we do about it? So knight here, queen over. And then on this, like, knight can take. So, that's annoying. My first thought now is knight e4, attacking the queen and the knight. That's my best choice. And then I get a bishop there to attack the pawn. Maybe there'll be four. Yeah, I'm going to go for this. Maybe I end up giving the pawn back. I'm not sure. So what lines could we see here? So first one to calculate is knight takes, bishop takes, pawn up. Then can I go in for my, I might be then have to go into my, no, original line, no. Well, I don't mind that, like takes, push, even if I drop back. Knight takes, maybe bishop takes. Like I feel you've got a very weakened position there that maybe I'd be able to exploit. Okay, so knight takes. We take there. Now the question is, do you want your pawn so badly that you play f3? Because you could also, you could take here, takes, but then your bishop no longer defends g2, and I take there, which does not feel good, so I don't think you can go for that option. You can play rook here and say, I'll win this pawn back in a move, but do you win the pawn back? Because I don't have b3 because my knight hangs, but I do have knight up followed by b5. So if you want your pawn, you kind of have to do something now, unless you play like this. Maybe I could loop round the back in that case. Still lose the pawn. Maybe I go here. Yeah, so I think one of the guaranteed ways to win it is to push f3, and I can't maintain. I was like, I can come back to protect it, but then you roll e4, and if I come back to protect it, d5, and that's not what I want at all. Although I can come back here then and attack your a4 pawn. I think on this I'd just come back and let you have it. Do I even go that way? Okay, so that's what we get. So I do want the pawn back. Some dark squared weaknesses now. take it. No. Here, 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 here. 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 So they do get the pawn back, I think. Maybe then the line would push here to threaten like this. Maybe we try and throw an e5. I was thinking to take. Do I want to take? I think so. Queen up here. Castles. Maybe on this these bring the queen over. Yeah, it's pretty balanced, isn't it? I can't really exploit this pawn structure yet, I don't think. Maybe bishop here. Okay. Might need to pawn up. Centralise one of my rooks. I'm thinking the other one probably wants to come here. And play a5. Do I want to put bishop here, here? A5 locks these on light squares. We'll play for like this. So I'd have 3 and 2 on the queen side. Try and leave this isolated a pawn. I don't know. Don't know. Well, time wise, this is good. Like we've got a bit over 8, and they've got a bit under 4. So what's the, yeah, I suppose I just need to be a bit careful of like this rolling at me. Maybe we could just chip it away. But yeah, they could end up with like a nice block on light squares. Yeah, to be fair, I can do the same, can't I? That's a bit of a block on the same complex. How to make progress here? I think they just need to make a move. Don't think it needs to be so fantastic. Like I say, either go for something like this, push your pawn, move your bishop, centralise your rook, do something. And this is the only move that ties it together, or queen here. And on this, do I trade bishops? The question is b5 any good? To which I think the answer is yes. I think b5 is good. There, b5, suppose you go here. No, suppose you go here. Which way around would you play it? Take there. Take there, take there. Yeah, I think that's kind of sensible. b5 still. This. You can like take here this way, can you? Takes, I think it's good for me. This is, no, I was going to say that's interesting. I can just take with the queen. I suppose any bishop move uncovers queen down here. Maybe I should have played a waiting move before that. But yep, they're under a minute, which I think is going to be one of the leading factors. That there or that there? I think this here has got a bit more play. Well, you go takes and take control of the file, can't you? You can go takes. So maybe I go up. You still take control of the file. Can I play this? If you take the pawn, I go here. Get it there. Oh, this might have the most potential. I don't really know what I'm doing if you go AB. AB, rook A1 is kind of what I thought a sensible line continuation could be. Maybe I just push C5. Just need to be a bit careful, right? Bishop down here. I can still play C5. Kind of. Not really. I can play rook here. To go here. Getting towards the spicy end. Bishop A, bishop A. No, you're kind of all, everything's a bit tied together, right? You can't move your bishop because I take the pawn. Okay, yeah, you can play that. That's allowed. Ugh. Yeah. I've lost my retreat squares. I play e5. Drops the pawn. I can play c5. No, I can play takes really. Okay. More bishop here. Takes and the rook goes there. So maybe this. Maybe this is just sensible. Maybe this, and then this. This. Time's evening itself out. Okay, I think I'm going to take with the bishop. What do I take with the pawn? Oh, this. Oops. It's an annoying pawn wedge to have given away. Maybe go this. I think, yeah, next I want to play e6. Yeah. This. I don't really want my pawns all in light squares, do I? I either bring. Okay, so do we go in for like a big trade? Takes. Card bishops. What do I It's pretty drawish. I need to move all my pawns off light squares. I think I'll take this square first. I need to go around the back if things heat up. Now, what would my... I'd like a pawn here, and I'd like a pawn there to kind of fix this g2 pawn. If I do this, they can fix me, so maybe I should have played g5. Just one of these moves now might be... Ooh. Takes, fix. Or do we just play this off the rip? Takes. Let me go this way. I think it's all going to be a draw, I think, but we can push it a little bit. And they've only got, 20 seconds. Okay, I suppose they can play this, can't they? No, I think I play this. I've got split pawns. I thought I was doing okay. Maybe not. They've got the connected islands. My king's a bit far away. I want the pawn here. I suppose one thing with pawns on light squares, you can defend it with your bishop. Okay, I can get my pawn all the way up here. Let's just make a beeline for this pawn. Other option is I bring my king around here, push the pawn. Okay. If I go here. What do I push here, but then you come here. So the pawn covers this square, the bishop covers this square, and the king covers this square. So his king's not getting through to my position. Okay, now what about this? We'll check. Or this? Give him a question to think about. I think taking is bad for you. I don't think you can. Wow, I don't think you can do that. But now I come here, and I think I get Zugzwang. You go here, I push up, and you're in Zugzwang. I don't think you could have taken the bishop. You might be okay. I think my pawns are higher up the board. Your only move is this, which I kill a move here. You move this way, I get this pawn. You move this way, I get this pawn. Don't think you could. I think if you kept the bishops on, we were fine. We were drawn. But you know, when you've got 20 seconds, you've got to make a decision. And you'd have thought 3 pawns on 3 pawns is good enough. Okay, so we kill a move. So yeah, I did see this from a distance of trading the bishops off, that we would have this line, yeah, and they just have to resign. Well, yeah. So this position is winning, but let's have a look through it then. So we had like the invitation for the Grünfeld. They didn't play the main line. So bishop out. What? So if I play bishop g7 and the knight comes here, knight a6 is no dramas. Maybe because I can always kick with c6, because I know in general you don't want to have your knight on a6 in the Jabava London, but maybe that's when black has played c5 and they've got no way of removing this knight. So maybe here you're then playing c6. No, you're still playing c5. Okay, but in future I can just kind of carry on what I'm doing. I'm not that fussed about knight b5. Noted. Yeah, a6 felt a bit slow. a4 didn't really feel like that was a move. So I really like c5. No, it's knight a5. Yeah, fine, because knight a5 you're threatening the pawn and that square, right? Yeah, knight a5 is the way, not taking the pawn. This still says it's -1. Now I get knight a5 in. Yeah, so I thought bishop here was an excellent move. I should have just carried on with my plan of bishop b7 because of knight e5. Thought what I wanted. Takes, has to push. I come back. Now it's flat, if slightly better for white. I felt like we just kind of jigged around a bit here. I think if anything, white probably came out of this better. Yeah, about 0.5 for white. So we're going to the big trade, which should just be flat zeros for a while now. And now it was try and get your pawns on dark squares to see if that was going to have... Oh, I could have pushed f4. Interesting. Yeah, that's a way to keep it locked and a good structure. Yeah, because I wondered if f4 here was any good. Because then I'm left with a split f5 pawn, but that's not what we got. I played that. Okay, f4 is the move. And this is slight advantage for black. Maybe I should have gone... Okay, so it does say go after the b2 pawn, or at least head that way with your king. A5, yeah, maybe that's a useful move to insert. Just gets rid of my weakness, and then I could have just tried to like leverage my bishop around the back, maybe. Even trading's a draw. Why is trading a draw? Even king d2 is a draw. Why? King d2, I go here. I push. You come back. Okay, you can kill enough moves. Okay, I thought at the bishop trade I was winning, but after b3 I definitely am. Because you've got no moves here. Yeah. So I go after the board. Cool. Well, nice win. Thanks for watching.